Morning, everyone. And so thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Andres, for that fantastic and warm welcome and introduction. The nice thing about having a very intimate discussion is that we can tell everyone who missed out that they either didn't win $1 million, or they didn't win some sort of big prize, or they didn't find the secret sauce to success or something. And so, but Andres, thank you so much. I really appreciate being here. I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to talk earlier this year about the importance of protecting innovation, but more important, about how to bring innovation to impact. I'm tremendously honored to be here today, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with this, sorry. I'm tremendously honored to be here today and to be a part of the discussion at the Digital 360 conference, talking about the 3Ds, as I call it: decentralization, digitalization, and decarbonization. For those of you who are here for the first time in Texas, I would like to give you a hearty welcome and a howdy. I am actually a native Texan, born and raised in Houston, Texas, and I grew up in the Clear Lake area, right next to the NASA Johnson Space Center, also known as Mission Control. And so technology and innovation have always been a part of my life as I was growing up, and I am thrilled to be able to continue to be a part of innovation and technology in the work that I do today. But innovation and technology are also continue to be at the heart of all the things that we do in Texas, and which is why we are all together here today to talk about innovation in Texas as well. So my husband and I are actually fans of the show Yellowstone, as well as its prequel, 1886. And the series surrounds the Dutton family and the story of the Dutton family. For Yellowstone, it is the present-day story of the Dutton family as they are in Yellowstone Ranch, located in Montana. And the prequel in 1886 talks about the Dutton family as they were journeying across the United States, from Tennessee, going through Fort Worth, Texas, and then eventually ending up and embarking on their lives in Montana. And so for those of you who follow the prequel, 1886, there's actually a character there who is a cook. His name is Cookie, very apropos for the name of a cook. And he actually drove what we now know as the chuck wagon. I call the chuck wagon the first food truck as we know it today. So the chuck wagon was a mobile kitchen and is iconic when we think about cowboys, cattle trails in the Old West, including Texas. As a matter of fact, some people may consider Texas still the wild, wild West. But the chuck wagon was actually invented by Charles Goodnight, a Texas rancher. Some of you may believe that the chuck wagon was a part of every cattle drive, but in fact, the chuck wagon was invented specifically for Texas cowboys for the long journeys of the cattle drive. If you didn't know, it was very difficult to get good cowboys during the time. And so, especially good cowboys who were willing to go on the weeks-long journey, taking cattle from Texas over to places like the Kansas City railhead or other markets. And each cowboy was actually responsible for their own food. They were responsible for bringing it, cooking it, and preparing it. And so the chuck wagon, invented by Charles Goodnight, was really what he saw as a good recruiting tool to be able to get the good cowboys. So purchasing a Studebaker wagon, a durable Army surplus wagon, he and his cook designed what is known as the chuck box at the back of the chuck wagon. The chuck box had a slope and within it, and then it had a hinged lid, had some drawers in it to include the cooking supplies and tools, and then a Dutch oven on the bottom. And then the wagon itself had a water barrel on the outside and a coffee mill. Yes, even then they needed coffee in the morning. And they were all attached on the outside, and underneath was what they call the possum belly. And in the underneath at the possum belly made out of canvas or cowhide was where they carried firewood and cow chips. As a matter of fact, the chuck wagon was so successful and so related to the Texas cowboy scene that the state legislature actually named the chuck wagon as the vehicle of Texas. When I was growing up, there was another classic TV series called Dallas. And Dallas was about an affluent Texas family, the Ewing family, that owned an independent oil company called Ewing Oil. That family lived on a ranch called South Fork Ranch, and some of you may know that as the most famous ranch in the world. That ranch is actually physically located just outside of Texas, and it's actually the place where they actually filmed the TV series. The revived series actually has the Ewing family creating a fictional company called the Ewing Energies. And that company uses new oil drilling technology to pull oil from the ground. One of the major components of any oil drill is the rotary drill bit used to drill the holes and pathways for the well. Remember Howard Hughes? He used to be the richest man in the world, and he owned the company, Houston-based company called Hughes Tool Company, which is now known as Baker Hughes. Well, his father, Howard Hughes Sr., invented a two-cone rotary drill in Texas in the early 1900s in the wake of the spindletop discovery. Hughes Sr. and his business partner, Walter Sharp, were looking for a way to drill through the underground rock formations in a more efficient way. At the time, the current drill bits that were actually created used a flat, sharp edge, which kind of scraped away at the rock that was underground, and it wore down really easily. So the two-cone rotary drill was actually rotating, and it would actually pulverize the rock, making it easier for it to get through the underground and the underground rocks to be able to create the tunnels that was needed. Hughes and Sharp invented this, and it was patented in 1909, and they created the company Sharp Hughes Tool, which was the leading technology at that time for drilling technology. Fast forward 20 years, another significant Texas breakthrough was the development of the first integrated circuit, AKA the chip. Sorry, I couldn't really think of a Texas-related TV show to describe this one. But that technology existed in the TV, smartphones, computers, and digital pads that you would use to be able to watch any of the TV series that I mentioned before. In fact, there really isn't any electronic technology that does not use this particular integrated circuit technology, also known as a chip. The chip was actually invented by Jack Kilby in 1958 when he was working as an electrical engineer for Texas Instruments in Dallas, Texas. His invention was patented as a miniaturized electronic circuit in 1959, and he won the Nobel Prize for Physics for this particular invention. Each of these technologies, the chuck wagon, the drill bit, the integrated chip, formed not only the basis of the future technologies, but was an innovation that made an impact for the future. These industries form the basis of what are known as the iconic Texas industries, industries based on innovation, patents, and intellectual property, boosting the economy of not only Texas, but as well as the nation as well. Today, we know that almost 63 million jobs are IP-intensive jobs. That accounts for 40% of the U.S. economy and $7.8 trillion in revenue in 2019 alone. And in Texas, where Texas State is actually located, innovation is continuing. The corridor between San Antonio and Austin is known as the Innovation Corridor. And in the last 10 years, it has seen an increase in job growth by 51%. That's the impact of innovation and its tie to the economy. I love hearing about the invention stories from Texas State, like Dr. Bahram Azimpour and Paraz Mogimi, who have a patent-pending technology on multi-station growing support systems capable of real-time sampling, computing, and compensating for all of a plant's need. Or about the technology developed by Reed Richardson for assessing the quality of beef loins and ground beef and the tenderness of cooked steaks. Or that developed by Drs. Helena Tessick and Lucas Rusnick on the developments in identifying and quantifying sentiment and promotional bias in a social context. And the future technologies, some of which were alluded to by Andres, that Texas State is currently working on, including a smart home lab, which is an 1,000 square foot, 2-bedroom, 1 to 2 bathroom, net zero energy, net zero water house that costs less than $100 per square foot to design and build. And within that, there are bathrooms where doctors are able to give you a virtual medical checkup, including toilets that can analyze your waste for medical problems such as colon cancer. Bedrooms with interactive smart books that bring the stories to life, and clothes that are made with smart fabrics so it can regulate temperature and do health checkups. Garages with cameras with facial recognition that not only recognizes your face, but also those uninvited guests that might have a criminal record. Each of these technologies taking steps to move forward future innovations. But how do you protect that innovation and that technology, the monetary capital investment that you made and the intellectual capital that you made? Intellectual property is in every part of your business. It begins with the ideas that you capture on paper, type into the computer, or capture with your phone. It evolves in the discussions that you have so that your ideas now has a product and that product now has a name. And it develops when your product goes to market and you form a company that now has a brand associated with you. And it multiplies as you meet more people, develop a contact list, and eventually an employee base. From every person to every computer to every website, you have shared knowledge, you've created something, and you have invested in your intellectual and financial capital and assets. And you have intellectual property, that you want to keep and protect. And believe it or not, the government is here to help. The USPTO is here to help you on your journey. And so with that, I would like to highlight a couple of the different resources that our office, the USPTO, provides to help you along your journey. First off, we have an incredible website with a wealth of information at www.uspto.gov. On that website, you could actually go and look and find information about my regional office, the Texas regional office, as well as the 3 other regional offices located across the country, as well as our headquarters office. And on there are startup website resources that not only help you identify what kind of intellectual property that you might have, but it gives you information about how to file a trademark application. How do you file a patent application? What is a trademark and what is a patent? And then there are also virtual classes, as well as a listing of events for those of you who might be beginner, intermediate, or advanced patent filers or trademark filers, that you can take virtual classes or get a listing of live or virtual classes that we might be having across the board. We also have a number of 1-800 numbers that you can also locate to be able to find and get help and additional information from someone who's live and answering questions across the board. The other thing that I want to emphasize and talk about are a couple of the collaborations that we have. We have collaborations with over 80 libraries across the country with what we call the Patent and Trademark Resource Centers. These are librarians that we have trained that have the knowledge to be able to give you basic information about intellectual property, but also help you to be able to search for patents or trademarks to make sure that the name has not been taken or something has not been filed already for that particular invention. There is a PTRC very close here. It's on the UT campus at the McKinney Engineering Library. The other resource that I want to mention as well are the patent and trademark clinics in Texas. There are actually patent and trademark clinics around the world. And so the first one that I'm going to mention, or actually there are 4 within Texas that are very close, and all of that information is actually on site, and you can find all of that on our website. The very last thing that I am going to mention is the pro bono program that we have partnerships around the country. And these are pro bono attorneys that can help you for free, provide you assistance in filing your trademark and your patent applications. And the one that is closest here in Texas is Texas Accountants and Lawyers for the Arts. They're located in Austin, Texas, but you can reach them anywhere, as well as any of our other collaborations around the country that you can find information on uspto.gov. So whether you are digitalizing, decentralizing, or decarbonating, whether you are developing social science or agriculture or farming technology, whether you're in the oil and gas or semiconductor business or a cowboy or cowgirl, I look forward to working with each and every one of you as you are building a bigger, better, expanded innovation landscape so that together we can bring IP together and bring ideas to impact. Thank you.